new and improved Croppers transfer corner, right?
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's new and improved. But yeah,
That sound you can hear is loads of people just switching off the audio and or clicking away from the
turning
YouTube
it
video
down.
now.
No,
Yeah,
no
sod that.
volume down.
Yeah, not listening. Right.
Brilliant,
Okay.
brilliant.
What have we got on the list today? So we're going to do 4 players, aren't we, that have been linked to Manchester United, looking at the likelihood of them joining the club, and maybe a little bit of background on each of those players as well. Just a bit further than just reading the headlines this time. So, what have we got? Who's up first?
The first one is the name that's been linked to quite a bit this past week. Just say that Lewis Hall, Newcastle, left back. The price that's been thrown around is 50 to 60 million for Manchester United to go in there. And I think the reason this name's been pushed there is because of Luke Shaw had a good season, and he played every single Premier League game. But I think the powers that be at United and probably Michael Carrick feel like that's an area of the squad that can be strengthened. Lewis Hall, 50 to 60 million. Had a great season last season. For me, that's good business, Nathan. I think he's a future
He, so
England back.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the long term successor at left back, isn't he? So I think that's what he'll be doing. 21 years old, 46 games he played for Newcastle last year, which included Champions League games as well. 1 goal, 2 assists. Um, I'm not gonna say that's a good return. I think 2 assists. I think if you're looking to be a Manchester United left back, we have got to be looking at maybe 5, 6 to 10 assists per season because you want to be overlapping with those wingers. I would say, and he can definitely grow into that role. The interesting thing for me is with Lewis Hall, and I do think it's likely 50 to 60 million. It's good value, I think, as well, considering that Chelsea, who are now back in for Hall, having let him go previously, have just sold Cucurella for, was it 50 million that they got for him? 50
Yeah.
million quid from Real Madrid, which is, I mean, well done, Chelsea, for getting that for Cucurella. But, fair enough to them. Do you remember how Lewis Hall ended up at Newcastle United?
He went on loan, didn't he? He went on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah.
They paid 28 million. But was he part of that?
But
The money that was being shifted around and all that, or
there we go. He remembers, the lad. He remembers.
yeah,
Yeah, he
good
was part
surprise.
of those dodgy PSR deals that were going about. I think because it wasn't just Chelsea, there was a few other clubs as well that were caught up in it.
Well,
One of the
Elliot
while I was
Anderson.
doing my research on exactly, yeah. When I was doing my research on Lewis Hall, I was reminded that when all of these PSR loopholes were going on, the Premier League had to write to these clubs and say, "Look, we realise what you're doing and stop it." I don't know if they didn't really do it last year. They did they didn't really do it last year, but I think it was just that enough of a scare to go, we're onto you. And Lewis Hall was part of that. The Chelsea one as well, the biggest one out of that, and I know it's slightly going off tangent here, but I wrote it down. Omari Kellyman signing for Chelsea from Villa for 19 million. Do you remember how
Yeah,
many games Omari Kellyman played this season?
it must be
Don't think it was
zero.
a lot. I mean,
It must
I've
be
not
zero.
even looked, but I'm gonna guess it's probably about 2. And then Ian Matson going the other way for 37.5 million.
Mm,
Some book balancing going
it-
on there, weren't there?
so bent.
It was.
Investigations, please.
Does it so three quick questions for you on Lewis Hall then. Where do you see him fitting in? Does he start ahead of Luke Shaw? Is he the starter at left back, or do you think he has to work his way into the team?
No, I think he starts. I think he would be the main left back at United. And I've said it all season, Nathan. I think we need fullbacks. I think we need two. Bald Mazraoui is world class, though. By the way,
Oh,
just put that
oh
in
yeah.
there. But no, I think he's younger. He's fresher. He's Premier League proven. He's quicker. He will get forward more. Like Luke Shaw had a good season. I don't want to throw any shade his way, but you could see he couldn't get up and down. So he just sat there, and did well. And I don't think there's anybody better you can learn from. at the minute than an experienced left back like Luke Shaw. So yeah, he's probably perfect for United, and that's why I can see this one happening. I really can.
Fair enough. And the price for him, we're looking at about 50, 60 million. What would be your top end price for you to take him? What do you think
That
United
would be
should
it.
be paying?
That would be it.
Which which one?
55 million. Go in the middle. Newcastle will want more, won't they? But
Yeah.
that for a left back, you have to say, right, this is the amount we're going to go. You can't just be going 70, 80, 90 million. No, I think once again, the price of Ineos, if they want a starter in your first 11, seems to be 50 to 60 million. And once again, I think that's a fair price for a future England star. I really do. Yeah.
And the chances of it happening? Lewis Hall to Manchester United? What do you reckon?
7.9. I'm going to go.
Out, out of 100?
Out of 100, yeah. Out of 10.
Out of 10.
I can see
Okay.
this one happening. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving swiftly on then. Who else is on your list? I think it's the same
We
person we've
have
got down here.
a young man that you wanted to talk about as well at the World Cup is Buardi, the Moroccan
Yeah.
18-year-old sensation who ran Brazil ragged, didn't he? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rumours, Lille, he's at Lille as well. The
Yeah.
rumours are that there are a lot of top clubs that are looking at this lad. We know, don't we, Nathan, that United are one of them as well, but they've been looking at him for the past 18 months since
Yeah.
he came for Bayu, yeah. He had a great game, but I think we mentioned him before over the past, like I said, 12 to 18 months, haven't we? And I've poo-pooed it and said we're not in
Mm.
the position to go for these wonder kids from Europe and just to put them into the squad. I'll stand by that. I think I'm right in saying that we're not in a position to. The likes of Arsenal, Real Madrid, PSG probably are ahead of us in that race, and I think more than likely that he will go to one of them. The kid, when I watched him, I thought this isn't the player I thought he was. I thought he was a bit of a trickster, a bit of I'll get
Mm.
on the ball and I'll dribble. I didn't realize he was this ball winning, aggressive, I'm going to get in your face type of player. And no wonder, to be fair. Obviously, I don't watch a lot of French football. But when I watched him in that game via Brazil, I was like, wow, no wonder they can see how talented he is. Because he was in the face, he was everywhere, he wanted the ball. Another player we're going to talk about soon is who he reminds me of. I think he's probably a spitting image is Alex Scott. Very, very similar players. Tidy on the ball, technical, quite tall for a centre midfielder. Yeah, completely surprised me, Nathan. But this is where the sticking point comes. They're going to want 80 million euros, without a doubt.
Well, I think the one thing that is in United's favour is I think they will go to 80 million for the right player, and I know that's sounds like we're contradicting ourselves when we talked about Mateus Fernandez and not being worth 80 million, but this lad is 18 years old and he just bossed Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro. And Casemiro got hooked at half time. That's how bad he was having it out there. But I think 80 million for someone like Buardi is money well spent. He's best mates with Lenny Yoro, so there's already that connection there with them potentially like working together. He's always photographed with him, like whenever there's a little break, uh, Lenny's always with him. He's always there with him. So I think he's probably in his ear, just trying to get him to come to United. I think you're right. Probably behind in terms of where we are with Buardi and where Manchester United sit in that queue. I would say Arsenal, PSG, Real Madrid, all above that. In fact, I'd probably place us third behind Arsenal and PSG. I think Real Madrid would like to do something like that, but if you look at their midfield, they are stocked, and it's not just top end Chouameni or Camavinga, Valverde. It's not just those. They've got Ardagula, and they've also got who's the other young lad? Masterano.
Yeah.
The lad from
Bellingham as
River
well. You
Plate.
missed out Bellingham there. So
Uh,
yeah, you're right.
didn't
Yeah.
even exactly. It's a wealth of riches that we just can't even dream of right now. So that's why I'd put us slightly ahead on that front. Um, where would you? So you talked about this before actually, and I think you probably answered the question I'm about to ask you. But you would see him as someone that would start from the bench for Manchester United rather than be an immediate starter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know he's talented, but he's not what we need in that midfield. Is he? He's a young kid, and this is like we know that they want Premier League proven, and that's the model that they want to go down. So for you to just go and spend a massive chunk of your budget on a young kid, boom, there you go, whack him straight in the first team. It's a lot of pressure. He might do.
Mm.
We don't know because he could be a superstar. Can he? To be fair, he has been spoke about by scouts and things like that as being this potential superstar. But to go and do that, throw him straight into the team alongside Kobe Mainoo, it's a big ask for me, that Nathan. I don't think it'd be the right thing to do.
What price would you pay for him then? If they're going to be asking for 80 million and you was going to be putting that money in, or say, you are in control of the finances at Manchester United, which would be hilarious. But what price would you pay for him to be that future star, to try and get him to be, maybe not this season, but next season as the top boy?
If
What
you've
would you
got all
pay?
your, if you've got, is it ducks in order? Is that the right wording? If you've got your midfield sorted,
Geese,
it,
ducks,
geese, something like that, and if you've got your squad sorted and you are like Real Madrid, like Arsenal, you've got your two starting centre midfielders, you've got Bruno Fernandes ahead, and you go, right, we've got Fernandes, we've got Mainoo, we've got Edison, we're pushing towards challenging for the league. That's when you can go and get a superstar. You've got everything else sorted. You've got your squad
Mm.
sorted. You can go and then add an 18-year-old superstar, and you can say, right, like Ronaldo, like Cristiano Ronaldo, we had everything pretty much sorted. Come in, the first 6 months of being like, all right, I'm getting used to the squad. I'm dipping in and out. Um, Potential cup games, and then you're looking at when he gets to 20, he's saying that, well, I'm a starter here now. Then 22, I'm a Champions League star, and then 24, 25, right, I am a superstar. So at 18-year-old, you can't. 35 million, Nathan. To answer your question, 35 million is the amount I go, and you're not going to
Right.
get him for that. You can't
No.
get anyone for that amount of money. So it's yeah, because it could also be that it comes to United and doesn't take off, doesn't kick on. The Premier League's
Mm.
not the French league, so it's a massive risk to take, and it's not a guarantee. Whereas other names that United are looking at, we know they work in the Premier League. You know that you're
Mm.
spending 60 million on somebody that does know what they're doing and is physical enough in this league, etc. So yeah.
He definitely does represent risk, but I think he's worth it. I think if you can get him for 60 to 70 million and you have the budget to do that, I think you go and get him, because I think then you start cleaning house a bit more ruthlessly and you get rid of, like, you get rid of Ugarte straight away out the door.
Mm.
Yes, you're going to bring in a Mateus Fernandez. Going to need a big squad, aren't you? So if you can get
Mhm.
hold of these players and you can do your refinancing however you need it so that you can unlock this cash, I think you got to go for it. It's interesting actually because I didn't think he was that type of player either. I didn't think he was like a rangy box to box player, but 42 games last season he played for Lille and he only got one assist. So
Mhm.
I think that tells you everything. Do you know what I mean? He got no goals and one assist, so he's
And
the destroyer that
7
we
yellow
wanted.
cards. So yeah,
Yeah,
he is that.
exactly.
He is that type of player. Yeah,
So the chances of that happening then?
3 out of 10.
Buwadi t Buwadi to United, 3 out of 10. That's the chances of it happening. Okay. All right. Let's move on then. Who else we got?
Okay, okay. Another centre midfielder. I mentioned his name before. In similar ilk to Buwadi, Premier League proven. We spoke about him a few times over the season because we led to believe that United scouts were interested in him and we're looking at him all season. Alex Scott, Bournemouth centre midfielder. Um, I've looked at him closely and I've tried to do a bit more research on him because I didn't think it was a serious name that United were looking at. I just thought it was one of them where, oh yeah, we're looking at him. He's a future midfielder, and, yeah. And I was like, no, not really. No, no, we're going to go for Fernandez, Tuchemene, Tonali, Elliot Anderson, names like that. But the more the more you take note of where these stories are going, the more you have to sit up and go, no, United are serious about Alex Scott here now. It sounds like they've asked how much it'll take. it sounds like the player might be interested. We put him in that second or third tier, didn't we, of where
Yeah.
he's going to go. I've said he's not the right fit for Manchester United because he's an 8. The more I've watched him, it's similar to Buat. I didn't realise how aggressive he was in the tackle. I didn't realise he is a bit of a ball winner. He's a unit of a kid as well. When you watch him,
Mm.
he's not slight. He is solid in the Jack Grealish kind of build. He's got a solid base about him, and he will. I've seen it a few times because I was like, oh, I didn't know he had that in him. He's naughty. He'll put his foot through everything. He will take everything. And because I just thought ball player, tidy on the ball, a bit like Adam Wharton, like can play the 6, can play the 8. He can play those roles away. Can play the 6, the 8, and the 10. And I'm not surprised the more I look at him that United are looking at him and really are pushing for it. So it's I I've kind of changed my tune on this one, and I would be kind of happy if Alex Scott came in as one of those midfielders. Yeah.
I feel like I need to remind the listeners or the viewers on YouTube about what "naughty" means, because that is a
Right,
colloquialism
Northern.
that only
Right,
us
Northern.
us Northerners will get.
Yeah,
But
it is, isn't it?
obviously you mean an angry little sod,
Yes.
or has the potential to be that. So yeah, that's what he means when he says "naughty." I'm inclined to agree. Obviously, United have watched him a few times over the last year, I think, especially since Carl McCauley came in as head of recruitment. They've been down there watching him play. Him, Tyler
Tyler Adams.
Adams, and Krupi Jr. were the ones that they were looking at the time. And also, in the last couple of games, they just one eye on what's he called, the Brazilian lad that's there.
Oh, yes.
Uh, not Evan Nilsson, the other one.
His name's
What's he
gone.
called?
His
What's
name's
he
gone.
called?
He's the
He's gone.
winger.
You
His
find
name's gone.
you find that while I'm
Of
doing this.
course.
So Alex Scott, you're right. He's like a little tiger in midfield, and he's one of those. I think when you look at what United are looking for right now, they all have a similar profile. It's people that can get their foot in, get box to box, and play a pass. Right, that's what they're looking for. It's almost an all rounder. It's not just this someone that can clean up, because that's what Ugarte was brought in to do. It wasn't just that. Belieber, again, I feel like he's that type of player that just he goes in and breaks up play, but he can't really pass. He's not that dynamic to get up and then do something with the ball. And that's why I think Alex Scott is probably more of that kind of, I don't know, 40 million pound player that United bring in as a squad player to shore things up at times as well. 39 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. Not an amazing return, but he put it on against big teams, especially against Liverpool. Like he looked really good against the big team. So I can see that one happening. Um, in terms of where he fits in the team, Alex Scott, is he from the bench or is he starting for you?
I'll just say Rayan was that name.
Rayan, there we go.
Yeah. It depends which way they go, doesn't it? Because I think, well, I know I said this the other week. The last game of the season was Mason Mount played, didn't he? And he had Manu as a 6. He had Mason Mount playing as an 8 with Bruno Fernandes slotting. So he played 3 in there. If that's the way that he's looking at going, then no, I can see Alex Scott slotting in there quite nicely. And that right-sided 8 would then be Alex Scott and Mainu and Mason Mount. That would be the selections for there.
Right.
I think he comes in and probably starts, Nathan. The Arsenal game was the one that made me sit up a bit. I know he
Yeah.
scored and he does highlight it, but that was the one that made me sit up and say, right, okay, against potential, well, the Premier League champions, one of the best midfields in Europe, and he stood out, Nathan. So
Mm.
that won't have gone unnoticed from the hierarchy all across Europe. No, I think he'd come in and start. And then I think you're looking at the likes of Edison then being more of a squad player than Alex Scott. This is something I
Oof.
just want. This
Big
is something I
shout, that,
wanted.
mate. That is a big
Yeah,
shout.
I wanted to just. Do we need 3? If you went and got Matthias Fernandez, we've got Edison, and do you need an Alex Scott? Is that
I'd
does
say
that
yes.
make it overcrowded then? Does I know
I think
Ugarte's going to leave, but
when you looked at last season and someone said to you, "Oh, you know, I'm not talking about the season just gone. I'm talking about the one before that under Ruben Amorim. And someone said we're going to get three top midfielders. Would you have gone? Ah, no, we only need one or two. You'd have gone no, three. And that hasn't
Mm.
changed. If anything, it's got worse. Casemiro's gone. Ugate's got worse. You've only got really one recognised midfielder in there, which is Kobe Mainu. If he gets injured, then what?
Mhm.
Alex Scott can
No,
play that type of position, you know. Mateus Fernandez can play that type of position as well. He's young enough to be moulded into an attacking midfielder, a defensive midfielder, an all rounder. And then you got Alex Scott and Edison. I think you have to have that magic in midfield. If you have those options, look at Real Madrid. I just talked about them before. Look at how many bloody midfielders they've got
there's
harbouring all
what
of those midfielders for nothing.
we're we're talking then. Matis Fernandez 62 million. Edison, what was he, 45 million? And then you're talking an Alex Scott on top. You're talking north of 150 million there
What?
on centre
But
midfielders.
but I'm not spending that money. And if Sir Jim Ratcliffe has found that down the back of his sofa, and that's what he thinks is the best way to spend it, off you go, lad. I'm not going to argue with that. If there's other areas of the pitch that need to be sorted out, then that'll be on outgoings as well. But mate, if you have to spend 150, 160 million on three midfielders, go for it because you're only strengthening, you're not weakening that.
I'm
Who else?
all for
Go on.
sorry, I'm all for Alex Scott as long as we get Fernandez as well.
Okay.
That's my
I
take.
think that's fair. I think pretty much every United fan would be alongside you with that type of comment. Chances of it happening?
Oh, I'm gonna go a solid 7. I think United love him. I do. 7.
A solid 7, but you went 7.6 on Lewis Hall. So
Yeah,
you believe
I
Lewis Hall's
think
more likely? Okay.
yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
Can we take the decimals out and just go with
No,
just the straight? All right.
no,
Okay. Fair
no.
enough.
My autism won't
Right.
allow it.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Right. And we got one more on the list, haven't we?
We have, yes. The Everton man, I think I love him. Ndiaye, left
Yeah.
winger. We spoke about left wingers and Marcus Rashford. He's another one that seems to be he's being pushed to the front for Manchester United. We know they're looking at that position after the other positions have been taken care of, I believe. It's 60 million, which is it's funny because all the names that we're looking at are all that 50 to 60 million price range. So and the eye for that left hand side for Manchester United, I love him as a player, Nathan. Every time I've seen him, I thought he's the best player on the pitch. This kid. There was a game against Newcastle away, and he were outstanding. He just turned Newcastle's defence inside out, and he's done that to a few teams this year. Put him up there with Gibbs White, who another one, and Malcolm Rogers, another one that said, I think he is the budget option to them lads, but I think he would slot in and link up beautifully with the likes of Bruno and Cunha and Mbumo. I think he will just slot in there. 50 to 60 million, I think, is a fair price for him. I've spoken to a few United players and United fans, sorry, and they seem to turn their nose up at him. Not sure why. But once everything else is taken care of, if we need a left midfielder, Marcus Rashford doesn't come back. He's a name that's being thrown out there.
I think the weird thing is with Ndiaye is that he's a patchy player. Like one of my mates supports Everton, and he even says like he's in and out of form. When he turns it on, he's like the best player on the pitch, as you mentioned there. 34 games this season for Everton, 6 goals, 3 assists, decent return, better than Ahmad. I mean, everyone was better than Ahmad this season, but I find it. I don't know if it's that likely anymore because we were linked heavily with him in January, and it kind of feels like these comments and these links are being resurrected by his agent, who's maybe pushing for something to happen this window. When I was looking him up as well, I was surprised to see that he played for Hyde United in non-league during 2019 season. So it's been a pretty good rise for him, hasn't it? Like getting up there. I know he was at
Yes.
Sheffield United as well, and he's been at various other clubs, but that the Hyde United one was the one I was like, oh, all right, okay, all right, you've done you paid your dues in the lower leagues. Fair enough, lad. Um, I just don't think it's going to happen though because Patrick Dorgu has caused a problem by Michael Carrick was apparently, or has spoken confidentially, that he sees Patrick Dorgu as someone to play further forward these days. So I can see him playing further forward. He did for Denmark as well when he scored that
Mhm.
cracking goal the other day. So I don't know. And out of all of those, Ndiaye's probably the least likely one that I could see going to United. I don't think he has a natural fit into the team. And I think his price for 26 years old, and that sounds like madness, I think that price might scare United off when they're looking around Europe and going, we could probably get that lad for same price and get more mileage out of him. So yeah, I'm not sure. But do you think that's a likely one that could happen?
No, no, I don't know. I think they'll take care of business in other areas first, and then if somebody comes in for 40 million for Rashford, takes his wages off the bill, then maybe they'll go and add look for another forward. But no, no, I don't. It like you say, it is a name that keeps cropping up, cropping up. Probably is his agent that's saying we're after a move here. 6 months ago, we were heavily linked with him, weren't we, in the transfer window? And then no, no, I don't. So I would say my rating for that one likely happening two, 3 out of 10.